Hey girl, it's good to see you. How have you been? The He is miracle food. It's the best for detoxing, cleansing, healing, removing inflammation, and boosting your immune system. It's suitable for all ages, and it helps me out tremendously during pregnancy. Allergen-free, gluten-free, 100% organic, all-natural, and vegan. Chakradoctor.org. 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 818-429-1675.
5 course meals, that's us. We the inventors of the science and mathematics. We the inventors of astronomy and astrology. Cushion Egyptian, ancient African DNA. It's all in my biology. Hope my people are proud of me. I'm just setting the light on a lot of dark places in our society. Minds covered in poverty. Universal creator, hear me, cause I'm praying for you to get us out of it. Wicked nations run by the corporations.
What's good, my brother?
Man, man, you're just trying to stay blessed, my brother. 10 toes down, Good to see you though, man. It's been a minute, man.
It's absolutely been a minute, man. It is great to see you. It is great to be seen and not viewed.
There you go.
And yeah, man. Thank you for coming on the Godcast, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm honored, my brother.
It always makes me feel good when I know that people that I look up to, that they fuck around and actually like watch my show and shit.
Oh yeah,
Godcast and shit. I'm like, wow, for real? Like, yeah, like I watched the Godcast. I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
I mean, I probably don't know. I probably don't know because we don't have a lot of outlets of people that keep it real, and you one of them ones that keep it real. So
I appreciate
when I'm working out, I catch up on what I miss. When I'm able to tune in, I tune in all the time, my brother. So I appreciate what you're doing, man, for hip hop in general, you know what I mean? And for black people, the movement of us as black people,
Thank you, my brother. Now I just heard you say when you're working out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now I happen to know you're about maybe a year older than me, so that would make you about 53 years old, sir.
Yeah,
yes?
There you go. Yep.
You look great for your age, first of all.
Well, thank you, man. God bless, man. Allah bless me with something good, man.
And the fact that you still work out, like, why don't you share with the people maybe a little bit about your regimen, because we deal with
one thing I do. This is one thing I definitely do, which I did it unfortunately when I was incarcerated. I always do a couple of miles on the track. That's first what I do to just get my vitamin, my vitamin D, you know what I'm saying?
Like early morning runs?
The early morning, yeah, definitely. So I do that. And then, I do a bit of calisthenics, but usually when I lift, I don't lift heavy. I just lift to just kind of like tone up, to stay toned. You know what I mean?
Right.
Primarily. I'm a little bit too old for like trying to power lift. So usually I do shoulders, arms, legs, abs. I have certain days mapped out for certain parts of the body that I do. I do ISO, a lot of ISO working out, you know what I mean? So, a few days out of the week is chest, arms. The other few days is legs and abs, and cardio every day because I hit the track. So
Right. Listen, as long as you're doing something like
and that gives us win. I learned that a lot from when we used to tour and I didn't work out. Then I started working out. And when I toured, I was the 30, 45-minute set was nothing,
You tell people that like doing a 30, 40-minute set. First of all, a lot of people don't have the material to do a set that long. That's number one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But doing a set that long and really being engaged with your audience and all of that, that'd be some tiring shit, yo.
Absolutely.
Be like a full-on workout that you.
Oh yeah. Especially when I do a lot of like on stage, I'll do a lot of our records, but I also do a lot of freestyle shit. Just hyping the crowd, trying to interact with the crowd, because the era we came from, you had to interact. So
absolutely,
you couldn't just do your joints. You know what I mean? Right. So that's already a workout right there. Just trying to interact. Doing a certain little spots where you want to hype the crowd and get the ladies involved and get that's a workout.
Right. Now I notice you got a screen behind you, and
Yeah.
you playing a great show. It looks like.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, we
No,
started the Godcast. We started
no,
the
it
Godcast.
looks like that's the Godfrey behind you.
You know, I just doing like sports or this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man, I like seeing the
Yeah,
Godcast
I'm a man cave. I'm in the man cave. So
on
you
a
know,
big
my
screen.
studio's on one end, my sports is on another end. So
Facts, facts.
yeah.
So man, let's get for those that don't know, let's get into some of the history of my man Cole 187, aka Big Hutch, aka Mansa Musa.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Well,
first of all, you
you,
are
you
the nephew of the legendary musician Willie Hutch.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Tell us about fathers, brother, sister.
Yeah, that's my father's brother. My father's also a writer and composer for Motown as well.
Right.
He was an artist on Polygram as well. My uncle, I would say my uncle and my father is probably the biggest inspiration for me being in the entertainment business or being a musician first. Let me
Right.
say that because I'm a musician first. I play 3 different instruments. I play a trumpet, bass guitar, and piano.
Dope.
And from the beginning, you know, I always wanted to do music, you know, because of my bloodline, basically. You know, I really don't know any. I can remember being at my grandmother's house, and because we originally from Texas, we from Dallas, actually Carrollton.
Right.
Playing the piano. When you walk in my grandmother's house, there's a big piano in there, and that's all I would go to before I even say probably hi to my grandmother. If my grandmother was here, she would tell you that you go to that piano before you speak to me, boy.
Right.
You know, and that's just where I got. That's where I got everything I have. You know, as far as the knack to do music. That's why I think I'm a musician, a producer. Then I became an MC from that because of how rap became for me. But because of my influence of my uncle and my father, they, you know, if a lot of people don't know about them, my uncle did the Mac, Foxy Brown. My dad co-produced for him. He worked with the Jacksons, the Commodores, the Miracles, the Fifth Dimension. The list goes on, you know.
Now, do you believe it when they say it's in your blood? Like, do you believe it was truly in your blood? Like, not just that you was around them, but that music shit was in your blood. Like to where your understanding for it might have came a little easier than other people. Because I'm gonna tell you the truth, I was always attracted to a piano and shit too, but that
Right.
shit, I didn't have anybody to teach me. I didn't have any.
Absolutely.
So I'm just touching the blah blah blah, and then I learned how to play. I learned how to play the bass line of Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah, do.
And I
Yeah.
thought I knew how to play the fucking piano.
Well, yeah, I think because I have a lot of other relatives, right, that aren't into music. So some would say that I'm probably out of like all of my cousins, maybe 1 or 2 of us, you know, Cocaine's my cousin as well. Out of all of our cousins, me and him is the only ones that actually got the bug, right? Basically, like that being in us, you know.
Right.
And I think it's an interest that if you come from a musical family, you can be very uninterested. You know, that's a lot when people come from musical families because you pressure.
Right.
You know, I think it's in me because I've never been pressured. I always felt like it was my calling, you know. Like no one ever said, "Oh, you're gonna be in the music business." When I would go in the studio with my uncle Willie Hutch, I would try to play every instrument when I was a little boy. You know what I mean? He was like, "Oh yeah, he gonna be all over the place." Like that's in him, you know. Versus my other cousins, they be like, they ready to go home. I would sit in the studio with my dad and my uncle all night long and wouldn't want to go home. I wouldn't want to go play ball. I wouldn't want to go, you know. So I guess if that's any indication of it being in you, yeah, I would think it's in me, you know.
Right. I mean, I believe it's definitely, you know, you are where you come from, you know, so you have your father's direct DNA in you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I believe that we transfer a lot of our experiences and talents and all of that. Whether it activates in that next generation is kind of
that's the part.
them, you know what I mean? But I feel it's definitely in the blood /DNA.
Yeah, the funny thing, and we talked about this the other day. We were talking. I studied all this music from like 6 years old up to being like a teenager. And when hip hop took off, I wanted to become a rapper. Now my pops and my uncle say you a damn fool. You know what I'm saying? But that's how much I loved hip hop. You know what I mean? Because to them, they're true traditional musicians and writers and composers. You know, if you can't read music, you're not even on the level with them. You know what I mean? So for them for me to get involved in the break, you know, the scratching, the breaking, the whole thing was like, hey, you losing your mind. The fortunate thing I was able to do when we created Above the Law, I was able to integrate a lot of that music things that I had, and I was able to be the producer of Above the Law. I was able to play on stuff. I was able to, it kind of armed us as a group. You know, we became bona fide artists. Those things that I were taught by my pops and my uncle, it armed us, you know.
So now, as a West Coast dude, like, when did you first get acquainted with hip hop? Like, what's your earliest hip hop memory? Like,
I mean, you mean early? I mean, early. It's like the corny stuff, you know, like, and not to say it like that. It's like the rappers delight part.
Right.
But I think what impacted me was like stuff like Wild Styles really impact me, and seeing that really blew my mind.
Right.
You know, Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five, those records, Curtis Blow, the early Curtis Blow.
Right.
And then I really went crazy because when Run DMC came out, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Not knowing a few summers later, Eric B and Rakim would come out. Then that just was over with.
Right.
I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
Tell
you
me
know,
part of what for you made you lose your mind though when Run DMC, because I could tell you what it was for me, but what was it for you that when Run DMC came out, it was like, yo.
As a musician, I'll tell you, as a musician, how in hip hop, like the early hip hop stuff was boom bap, you know, MCing, you know what I mean? And a lot of the Curtis Blow stuff was music, but I like when they fused rock and roll with hip hop. That's what kind of blew me away. When they with the way the drums are the big rock drums, you know, like the big rock drums on Hard Times, the big rock drums on rock, the big rock sound on Rock Box. You know, Suck MC was already, you know, that's just the most phenomenal rhyme flow from two MCs I ever could. And you know, me and KMG, we would pattern ourselves off, you know, doing a tag team rhyme. You know what I mean? Like Run DMC. So we were big Run DMC fans, you know. So, and I think that's what kind of blew my mind with them as a musician and a producer, how they fused the two musics together, you know.
Right.
With the scratchy and Jay Scratch, rest in peace, Jam Master Jay, rest in peace, KMG and Easy too, before we bless the show, you know. So
absolutely.
And Tupac, my brother. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know KMG passed away. Really?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. KMG was the low key OG, man. That's my brother though, man. Without, you know, it's crazy because when we were younger, we were a DJ crew. Like we were D-boys that would throw parties, big parties, you know, this hood, that hood, you know, and everybody knows us from getting money where we come from in Pomona, you know what I'm saying? By way of, you know, connecting with cats from South Central and moving our thing, you know, in the 80s. And he was a DJ, but he had such a phenomenal voice.
Yes.
Me and DJ K-Oss was like, you gotta rap. We just gonna stay. So we stayed on about a year and some change. And he became KMG the illustrator, and that made the lock on the crew, you know. So when we started making records, I mean, you know, but we all come from, I was more of an MC and DJ K-Oss, Gomac, and KMG were DJs.
Right.
And we kind of, as we started writing and laying out the whole script for Above the Law, we loved his voice so much. And then he's just a phenomenal thinker too. That guy's brain is ridiculous. How we did murder rap. Funny thing, we wrote murder rap. We was in high school, fresh out of ditching school or something. And we went and we cut murder rap while we was in high school. But you know, I was a big like not storytelling, but like we wanted him to do something like where I'm the person that gives the news and he breaks it down like a commentator. Right. Like I'm the person that's on the scene, like I'm out here on the scene, and then he's back in the thing, like, yeah, you know, it's going down on this block. And so we kind of came up with this like tag team thing, a guy with a narrating voice and a dude that's just out on the streets going like a madman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how we formulated Above the Law. Most of the things that we done were just like that. Even if we rhymed, I would be the extremist and he would be the calm, collected, serious, you know,
down the middle.
there you go.
Yeah, come like
yeah, exactly right.
like
you know,
and then I blast away.
There you go.
Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like here I go, and that's what I love. That type of balance. Like if I had to compare y'all to like Run DMC, you would have been like Run, and he would have been DMC. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah.
DMC had that ill voice, but just straight up rhymes, and he let Run be the more charismatic, like animated vocal, like, you know what I mean? That was Run's thing, and that's what made them dope, and that's what made y'all dope. Like y'all voices, because sometimes niggas in the group will sound like each other.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, we wanted to be. The funny thing about it is we wanted to be like an extreme gangster group. That's like, okay, like if you look at Above the Law, you would say, okay, if you put PE and NWA together, you got Above the Law. You know, so one guy was the extreme guy, one guy was a narrative guy, but we always try to have some type of message in what we were trying to do, no matter how gangster it got. You know, we always try to promote that it was consequences to hustling in the streets. It was consequences to the decisions that you make, but you got to make them if you're a real black man in this country that we come from. So we were like known as a gangster political group, not like, you know, a lot of groups were extreme political. A lot of groups were extreme gangster. With Above the Law, we were trying to be both, actually formulated. You know, I won't say it didn't get purpose. It wasn't purpose until we did Uncle Sam's Curse. When we did the Black Superman record, that was all on purpose to show the whole 9 yards of what Above the Law really stood for. And that's a gangster political rap group.